Bonjour, 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 and welcome back to my channel, The Waves of Your Soul. Today's video is a VR to the hashtag Tarot Spection 10. It's a tag that was created from Hyena over at Soul Shadow Tarot. I absolutely adore. I'm a fangirl of Hyena's. She has a wonderful YouTube channel in French where she does reading, but she also recently created another channel where she shares tags and her tarot collection. She is a card lover, big fan of everything that she does, and so of course I'm gonna leave the link to her channel below, especially because her more recent channel that's all about cards is bilingual. You can watch it with English subtitles, so definitely go check her out. And so she created this tag that's all about to ask introspective questions with our cards, maybe go a little bit deeper in our relationship with tarot, and I thought it was a really cool tag, so I wanted to do a VR. I'm gonna be sharing with you lots of different decks while I talk. It's gonna be one of those chill ones where you can just grab a cup of tea or coffee or wine or whatever float your boats, and we can just spend a little bit of time together. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Marine. I'm a French tarot reader and a lover of everything tarot, oracle, and self empowerment related. On my channel I love to talk about decks. I love decks. Decks are my life. I'm obsessed. Tarot, oracle, I make no distinction. And I also love reading the cards, so doing pick a card readings and all of those. So if you'd like to see any of those things on your timeline, consider subscribing. I would love to have you. In the description box you're gonna find all the questions for the tags. I'll try and remember to put the names of the decks I've shared, and I'll also put all my other social media links and other videos of mine you might want to check out. So without further ado, let's get into my VR to the hashtag Tarot Spection 10. So how's everybody doing? How are you? Hope you're all doing good. What have you got as plans? Are you excited for the back to school feeling? How is everyone doing? Let me know in the comments. Before I get into it, can we talk about those really cool little pieces I have in front of me? I've just kind of gathered all the cool new stuff I got, but I was excited. I wanted to share with you. I found this really beautiful piece of celestite from Madagascar at the market last weekend, and also this really cool piece of quartz also that comes from Madagascar that I also got at the market this weekend. Obviously, if you don't know, I live in Réunion Island. It's really not far from Madagascar, so it makes sense for me to find stuff from there at the market. And can we talk about this beautiful feather? I've shown it in another video, but my dad found this. It's like blue on one side and yellow on the other. I don't even know which bird shed that, but he found it while he was walking the doggies, and he thought of me when he saw it because he knows I collect feathers. And honestly, this is one of the best one in my collection. It's so good. I think it's some kind of parrot, I guess, that shed it, but we don't even have parrots in Réunion, so I like to think it's a parrot that escaped from somewhere and is now living their best life and enjoying freedom, and they've shed a little treasure here, which I'm very grateful for. So anyway, enough talking about my decor, but I just wanted to talk about it. So like I said, this tag, Tarot Spection, created by Hyena. Definitely go check out her channel, especially her more recent one, because it's bilingual. You're in for a treat if you've never checked out what she does, and if you are French speaking and you've never watched her, girl, where have you been? I can attest that all her courses, everything she offers, it is amazing, and one of my favorite YouTubers to watch. Okay, so the first question is, if your tarot journey were a book, which card would be the cover and why? So for me, the answer came straight away. As soon as I read the question, I straight away knew that if my tarot journey was a book, my cover art would be the Fool, and in particular this version of the Fool, which is from the Goliath Tarot. Here are the backs. Indie deck. It's a deck I really love and have been a fan of for years. And this might be my favorite Fool card ever made. It's definitely in the top 3. For me, my tarot journey relates to the Fool because, first off, just like that little mice, as soon as I discovered tarot, I took a big jump. I jumped off that cliff. I didn't even think about it. There was no hesitation. There was no what if this happened, what if I don't like it. No, I took this big leap and I never regretted it, and I never stopped falling into the pit of tarot, really. So I very much identify with this as the Fool, is this idea of like taking a plunge and completely abandoning yourself to something and finding so much joy and gratification out of it. We also have the Eternal Vagabond as the keyword here, because for me, my tarot journey, I consider myself an eternal student. And very much like the Fool, I feel like I don't know very much. You know that saying, you know nothing, Jon Snow? That's me. I know nothing. Every time I think I know something with tarot, I end up realizing I don't really know anything. And the more I learn, the less I know for sure. I have, in the sense of, obviously I know things, I know what the cards mean, I know astrological associations, like compared to someone who's never studied tarot and who's never read any books, I know things about tarot, but I don't know anything for sure, because tarot is such a versatile, malleable, fluid thing that I can never be sure that the way I read one card will be the same from one day to the next. Context is gonna change everything. The mood is gonna change everything. The person I'm in front of is gonna change everything. Like, there's just so much movement and so much like power to change and so much like almost fluidity, and it's like tarot for me is very much organic. It's not fixed, so in that sense I could never say I know tarot, because it's always going to change, it's always evolving, and I need to evolve with it. And so just like the Fool, who sometimes can feel foolish, I too sometimes feel like I don't know anything, because I'm continually and always learning. And also I wanted to pick the Fool because a lot of people who don't know tarot sometimes view you as a fool for doing tarot. They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your little cards? Like, it doesn't work. Do you really believe in that stuff? And you know, all of the things that people have preconception about tarot. And I don't give a shit about that. They can think what they want. But it is true that for me, it's part of, you know, your tarot journey. Like, you put the Fool outfit on and you're happy to jump off the cliff. You don't really know where you're going, but you're just happy to be there for the journey. Maybe you're gonna get to the bottom of the river and you're gonna realize this is not for me. But for myself, I jumped off this cliff, I got to the river, and I never got out. I've been swimming in that river ever since, loving life. So the Fool is definitely the cover art of my tarot journey, and I'm very curious, what is yours? Let me know in the comments. Prompt number 2. If you could mix 2 tarot decks together to make your ultimate hybrid deck, which decks would you choose? So I thought that was a really cool question, but a very difficult question. I'm an RWS girl. That's what I've learned on, and even though I've been learning Marseille and, you know, other systems, at the core of my being, it's still my preferred system. It's still the one that if someone says, picture the 3 of Wands, straight away I'm thinking of the 3 of Wands from the RWS, right? I don't think necessarily of the ones from the Marseille or the Toss or anything like that. So I'm an RWS girl at heart, and from that perspective, that deck is perfect for me because it's the one I've learned on, and it's the one that's given me everything I've needed to feel confident reading the cards. That being said, I also am a huge nature lover, and so I thought what we could maybe be the best of both worlds is to have the RWS. This is like a borderless edition from the Centennial. I still haven't really found my favorite RWS, you guys. Like, I'm on the hunt for, even though it's like my preferred system and all of this, I still haven't found the perfect edition for me, because this one I enjoy the fact that it's borderless, but I realized the colors are a little bit too muted for my liking, and I like bright colors. But at the same time, I had the other one with like the blue backings, and that wasn't really my favorite. I think if I could, honestly, this is just a tangent, but if I could pick right now and straight away have my favorite RWS, it would be the golden RWS, the one with all the sunsets in the background. But it's out of print, very expensive, very difficult to find. So for now, we're going with the borderless Centennial edition, and I've actually added the Naturescapes Tarot. Here are the backs. This one you can find on Make Pink card. It's one where it's just a landscape for each card, and I've been absolutely loving it so much last month. I can't get enough, and it kind of represents the essence of a huge part of what I love, which is nature. I almost picked the Flow Tarot as my nature deck because it's one of my favorite decks of all time, but the Flow Tarot is very much ocean, water kind of related. This is all nature. We have mountains and rivers and all of those things. So I thought this was more balanced to make a balanced deck. So if I could pick my favorite deck, I think, and make like my favorite preferred thing, it would be somehow mixing DRWS with like nature, like themes like this. So maybe more nature, maybe put the court cards in the middle of some beautiful nature, for example, and maybe here in the background of this person juggling, we have like nature aspects in the RWS, but I want more. I want like, you know, this on top of that, if I could choose. I don't know how I could make the two merge, but I love the nature and open aspect of this, and I love the symbolism of this, and like what it brings to tarot, like the importance it had in tarot history. So if we could mix the two somehow, merging nature concepts with the figures and the symbolism from the RWS, that's what I would like. Number 3, was there a tarot deck that you weren't really feeling at first, but then it kind of grew on you? What changed your mind? Okay. The first one that came to my mind was the Crow Tarot, and honestly I don't know why I bought this. This was one of the earlier decks I bought. This is a mass market deck by US Games. I bought it because at the time there was a lot of people who said this is a great option for like RWS but done a bit different, because I'd been learning on a couple of decks, not just the RWS. Actually my first deck was a Hidden Realm Tarot, which is completely different. It's just portrait. It's got nothing to do with the RWS, really. It was a wild card. I learned tarot on a wild card, but once I got more into RWS, people were saying, oh, this is a good option. You can find mass market for like something a bit different. And I don't even really like crows that much. When I lived in England, I had a balcony and there was this family of crows that would hang out there, and it was like turf wars. They were pretty much, they had decided that that's where they belong, like this was their balcony, and who was I to say that I could say different? Like I paid rent, but they didn't give a shit, it was theirs. Every time I was going on my balcony, it was like sharing with crows who were almost like allowing me to be there when they felt like it, but sometimes you could tell they just didn't want me there, okay? And they would like peck at my window and sometimes scare the shit out of me, until eventually we found a compromise and we ended up like living more harmoniously. But here in Reunion Island we don't even have crows. Now I'm here, I live here, and we don't even have crows. So when I got this deck, and I was like, I had history with crow, but not in the way that they're still part of my natural habitat. And so I struggled a little bit at first. I was like, why did you buy this, Maureen? Like, this was just, I guess, one of those I was like, oh, maybe you bought it because people said it was good. Just like listening to people and not really listening to what I want, which we've all done that. But actually using it, I was quite surprised, because it wasn't just, this is not just an animal deck, it's not just a crow deck, it's more like a messenger's deck. Crows as messengers who can travel to other realms, and so they're almost like messengers from your guides, your ancestors, whatever you believe in. But there's this idea of crows traveling between worlds, and when I use this deck, I ended up getting a lot more spiritual reading than I thought, and a lot more like channeled reading than I expected. I thought this was just gonna be a deck about crows and like an animal deck type of thing, but it turned out to be deeper than that. One that at first I struggled with, but once we started working together and got our bearings, it's one that I ended up really enjoying. So I'm still not sure if I'll keep this one forever. I don't know if it's gonna be like a forever in my collection, but for now it's definitely has its place, and I don't want to get rid of it just yet. Number 4, if you could actually step into the world of any tarot card for a day, which card realms would you really want to dive into? This was also super interesting, but also hard, because there was like so many cards I thought of, but ultimately narrowing it down, I realized that, and we look at the Tarot of the Starbound Fantasia for this, because I don't know, I feel like looking at this deck, it makes me happy. This is by Taylor Ellis. I just want to look at it. It's cool. It's beautiful. So we look at this one while I answer the question. The card that I really want to visit if I could just spend one day with one card and just be in their world and talk to them especially, it would be the Hermit. Why the Hermit? Because the Hermit is super knowledgeable. They have spent so much time studying and learning and thinking about the meaning of life that I think if I could spend one day with them, I would definitely feel a lot less foolish and dumb. I would definitely come out of that day having spent a day with the Hermit, feeling maybe a little bit more wise, and that would be nice, right? That would be nice to ask this like master of knowledge for what is the meaning of life, how is the universe working, you know, like so small questions like that. Just asking what's coming after death. I don't know what you guys want to ask to the Hermit, okay? Each to their. Maybe some of you even want to ask like for the endings of your favorite TV show that never really finished and you're being left wondering how this TV show will end. Like, the Hermit has all the answers. And so to spend one day with someone who has the answers to everything, it would just be awesome. The question number 5 was, in your tarot readings, which card do you find the most changeable and versatile to interpret? The first card I thought of was the Wheel of Fortune. In this case, I really like this one because we have also the cycle of life and death. If you see here, there's like life, death, and resurrection in this card, so it's pretty cool. But the Wheel of Fortune is the most versatile for me, and it's the one that appears in the most different ways when I read the cards, because honestly, depending on the context, depending on who I'm reading for, if I'm reading for myself, depending on the question, depending on the spread, it could mean everything and its opposite. And I guess that could be true for a lot of cards, but particularly for the Wheel of Fortunes, I find that it is like I can't grasp it. The Wheel of Fortune, it's like every time it shows up, it says something different, almost to the point where I don't even know its true essence. It's almost like a mirror, but what you're looking inside it shifts all the time. It feels like water that's slipping through your hand, and I guess that's the essence of time itself. Time slips through your hand. You can't grasp time, and the Wheel of Fortune does represent time in a way, so it makes sense that it would always appear differently and that it wouldn't be something solid that you can comprehend and understand and have a fixed assigned meanings. And yes, the Wheel of Fortune, it can mean movement, it can mean change, it can mean like either luck is on your side or luck is not on your side, but it also can mean so many different things, and every time it comes in my readings I realize it means something different. So it's for me a little bit of trickster energy, the Wheel of Fortune. It's like it can mean what you want but also what you don't want, and it can mean some other things you haven't thought about. And also because it's always turning, right? The wheel, it's a wheel, so it's constantly moving, constantly turning. So it would be impossible to just stop it in time and say this is what this card means, because it's turning. It's turning one way, it's turning the other way. You can't really assign, in my opinion anyway, that's obviously all of those are my personal opinion, you're completely allowed to disagree, but for me it's the most versatile card in tarot, in the sense that it never really means the same thing. Even though we have a fixed keywords for it in books and all of those things, in reality, in practical day-to-day readings, the Wheel of Fortune has 1,000 faces, and I've never met all of them, and I don't think I will. This is a very versatile card, because fortune for me might not mean fortune for you, right? We all have different ideas of what being lucky or unlucky means. So that's why I picked the Wheel of Fortune for the card I find the most changeable and versatile to interpret. Question number 6 is a card that possesses qualities you admire but find challenging to apply in your daily life. For this one, the first card that came to my mind was the Empress, and let's look at the Gaian Tarot here. It's a mass market deck, you can still find it. I did cut it comes with huge blue borders on top of the white borders, and I cut those off. So just so you know, if you buy it now, it might not look the same as mine, because I did a bit of DIY on it. But the Empress truly is a card that I admire. I love the Empress. I love the Empress energy. I find her fascinating. I find her inspiring. But in day-to-day life, I really struggle, and that's me being very personal and honest. I struggle to tap into her energy, and I wish I I was better at doing that, because my moon is in Taurus, so technically I should be very good at this, like being, feeling like comfortable in your body, feeling abundant. I admire all the aspects of the Empress. I admire her ability to create and to just be the Empress, everything that she represents. But I really struggle to do that myself, because I think it mostly honestly comes from the fact that it's not very comfortable being in my body. I, navigate the waters of chronic pain, chronic illness, and so when people are like self-care, self-love, love the skin you're in, but you're also working with a body that is very painful to be in, that doesn't do what you want, and that you have to really struggle to do the things that everyone else does without even thinking about it, it can be hard to tap into that side of yourself, because you feel like, I don't feel the ease that the Empress does to be in my body. Like, it doesn't feel easy, it doesn't feel comfortable. She's like something I aspire to. She's someone I aspire to be. I want to find that comfort and that ease again in my life, and that's something I'm working really hard towards. But it still remains one of my favorite cards of the tarot, and I know when she shows up, especially when I'm reading for myself, she always has so much wisdom to impart me, and so much knowledge, and so much like profound meaning. But when it comes to day-to-day life and applying that to my day-to-day life, I really struggle sometimes. So okay, number 7 was, if you could add a major arcana card to the tarot, which card would you choose to create? I think if I could pick, I would add a card on the idea of the muse. When the muse visits you and you get inspired and you get those ideas, very much like Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords energy, but in a major arcana card, being like, this is the moment where you're getting divine inspiration. And I guess the Magician could be linked to that, but the Magician is actually doing it. I wanted a card to say, before you do it, you get that whisper from the muse into your soul. It's like that visit from divine inspiration, from whatever you believe, this like untapped pool of energy that comes and whispers to you something great that's going to affect your life, something that's going to completely transform your path. And so I think something along the lines of the muse. Number 8 is, share a card that represents your current life mantra. Let's look at the Cookie Story Tarot. I don't know, I'm in the mood to look at huge shit today. So this is an indie deck, by the way. It's by Destiny, and hello pink edges, we love it, we love to see it. So I'll just shuffle until we find my card. I planned all the other ones, but this one I forgot to take the card out, so it's okay, we'll just look at this one until I find the card I wanted to say. So my current mantra is the 3 of Wands right now at this moment in time, because I've just gone through oh well, there it is, it wasn't very hard to find. I've just gone through, honestly, some shitty months, I'm not gonna lie. It's not been the most fun year for me. I've been feeling like very much hermit vibes, especially because where I live we've just gone through winter, so the vibes were a lot more about hermiting, introspection, and just like being very quiet and very like spending time on my own, really. But now spring is arriving slowly. I'm feeling a lot more creativity, I'm feeling a lot more inspiration, and I'm feeling like I'm coming up to the light again, which is very much 3 of Wands energy. I have some projects on the go, I've got some plans I need to make for next year, and so there's like pots on the fire, as you would say, that are giving me 3 of Wands energy. And so that's kind of like currently my life mantra. I feel like 3 of Wands always is one of those anchor cards for me that I can relate to, in the idea of looking ahead, making plans, like the world is your oyster, don't box yourself in, that kind of thing. But also it's an anchor for me, especially when I've gone through a difficult time, because it's there to remind me that after the tunnel you can come out to the other side. And so the 3 of Wands is always there as an anchor for hope, almost, for me, to be like, you won't always feel like this and won't always feel like uninspired. You can and will find inspiration again, be excited about the opportunities of the future again, make plans again and just feel this renewal of energy, right? Let's just life, waning and waxing. Sometimes we go low, sometimes we go high. And the Three of Wands is always there for me to help me in those moments when I know I need to come out of the cocoon phase that I've been in. So right now, it's really helped me to cultivate that particular energy I want to tap more into as we're about to enter spring. Number 9 is, if you could invite 3 cards for dinner at your table, which one would you pick? I didn't overthink this one. Straight away I thought, I want all the knights. I know we said only 3, but I'm an Aries. I don't follow the rules, okay? Don't be mad. I want the 4 knights to come to dinner at my house. And these are just the 4 knights from the Tarot at the End of the Rainbow. In French, it's called the Tarot Arc-en-Ciel. It's a Los Scarabeo deck. Again, the name will be in the description box. I've picked those ones because they are some of my favorite knights, to be honest. They're just cute. They make me happy. They all have such strong personality. I like those knights. It doesn't mean I want to meet those knights specifically. I just would like to invite any of the 4 knights from the court card, purely because I think knights have this fantastic energy. They are lively, they have stuff to say, they are just super interesting. I enjoy knights in the court, so I think it would be first fun to have them for dinner, and also because knights for me in my version of tarot are some of the only court cards, or cards really, that probably have traveled to the other realms, right? They move, the knights, they move, they probably have visited strengths, and they probably went and see what Death is up to, and they probably went to the sword realm and the cups realm, even though they might be from the wands realm, because they have horses and they ride, and they're like all about moving and exploring and discovering. So if I invited the 4 knights to dinner, they could tell me about the whole world of tarot, because I truly believe that for me, they travel around, they've been like meeting everyone that's around there. So they could tell me about the world of tarot. They could tell me about the time they met the magician, or the time they went in the tower and thought they were gonna die, or the time they went to meet the Queen of Swords, or whatever. And I think that would be fun. I think obviously the Knight of Pentacles could help me cook, so we would be having delicious dinner. The Knight of Cups would definitely be picking the playlist. I think the Knight of Wands would come up with some cool board games we could all play together, and the Knight of Swords would start up some really rich, interesting conversation, and we could have debates and lively conversations, and nobody would be bored. Plus the delicious snacks from the Knight of Pentacles makes for a wonderful evening, don't you think? I think I would love to be there right now. I think we would have so much fun. So the 4 knights at dinner, let's do it. And we're already at number 10. The prompt is, imagine offering advice to the tarot card you like the least. What would it be? I don't really have an advice to give it, but I can just say the card I don't like seeing. Like, there's a particular card in tarot I don't particularly love. Every time I pull it, especially for myself, it pisses me off, and that is the 4 of Cups. I'm an unhinged Aries, okay? And when the 4 of Cups arrive, it makes me know that either I'm being ungrateful or I'm not seeing something that's right in front of my face. I don't mind the ungrateful part, in the sense that I don't mind working on my gratitude, and gratitude practice is something that I do every day. Every day I make a list of the things I'm grateful for. It's a practice I'm very good at doing. So it's not so much that aspect of the 4 of Cups. It's more the aspect of like, there's something there that you're not seeing. And I'm like, where is it? What is it? Because I'm looking real hard and I'm not seeing it. Like, can you be more clear? Like, point it to me, please. I need a sign like this right here, you know? I need something that points. This is heat. This is the big cup you're not seeing, and maybe you should pay attention to it. Because every time I get this card, I get frustrated because I'm like, where? What is it? What do you want me to see? I don't get it. I don't understand. Leave me alone. Sometimes I can really relate to this little man who's there like, just fuck off, really. Just leave me alone. I just need some time to myself. I just need time to chill, and I don't need that right now, okay? I don't need that energy. So it's not necessarily that I don't like the cards or that I have advice for it. Is that when it turns up in my readings, I'm like, oh, here we go again. So I'm very like I don't have the patience for it as much as I might have for like a tower or a desk, where I might be like more listening to what it has to say. So when you're feeling like this, you don't need other extra added things on your plate. You just want to be like doing you, right? You do you, boo. So the Four of Cups and I, we have a tumultuous relationship. So those were my answer for the tag hashtag Tarospection 10. Thank you so much to you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It was super fun for me to do the tag. I want to say a huge thank you to Hyena over at Soul Shadow Tarot for creating this tag, because it was super interesting. If you have any answers to one of the questions you want to share, I'd be happy to read you. It's always a pleasure to read your comments. And until my next video, I'm sending you so much good vibes and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!